the catchiest songs in hair metal history. And I put Love Bomb Baby at number 9.
What is this? And I absolutely had to have everything Tigertailz at that point.
I'm going to talk about sex. I'm going to make penis jokes. But this is the album that should have broke Tigertailz in America.
The hair metal guru from Warren to Crew. The hair metal guru. Never forget Charlie too.
Welcome to the Hair Metal Guru. My name is Anthony. They call me the Guru. And we got my good buddy Ryan here today because we're going to talk about a band from Wales that both of us really like that never really got their due attention in America, and that band is Tigertailz. And they have recently come out with a box set, a CD box set called The Archives. I think it's called Archives and More Volume 1. And so I got that in the mail. Ryan also got it. And I was going to do an unboxing video, and I'm like, fuck. Ryan is a massive Tigertailz fan. So I'm like, Ryan, do you want to talk about this shit with me? So he's at work saving California from the ravages of forest fires. And so he's on to talk Tigertailz with me. With that, Ryan, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Very, very cool topic. And I'm glad we both got this cool box set.
Yes. So I don't know, I didn't get into Tigertailz, I think, until later years. I remember hearing Love Bomb Baby got some airplay in America, but I know that I wasn't rushing out to buy this. I loved the song, but I wasn't rushing out to buy the CD because I bought all the music magazines. I don't know that I remember seeing a lot of shit about Tigertailz. So I was like, whatever. I was sticking with all the American bands, or at least the ones that were getting promoted in Metal Edge, Circus, Hit Parader, knew Love Bomb Baby. But then in years later started, and I remember hearing the song Star Attraction on some, I don't know if it was the old version of Hair Nation, satellite radio. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And so went out searching for that song. That was in the 2000s. And then I started getting a little bit more acquainted with Tigertailz. So when did you kind of get into Tigertailz? What's your story with them?
Yeah, it's actually quite impactful. It was 1999, and I was at a used record store. And I was looking through the miscellaneous T section, and it was the LPs. And I saw this outstanding record cover. Yeah. Crisp, bright blue and red, killer logo, great fold out with the band, great border. The back of the album is equally killer with the 4 guys. Every S is replaced with a Z. And I brought it home, and my dad had a turntable, and I was a senior in high school, and I put it on. And honestly, it's one of those moments I will not forget in my music fandom. It was honestly equivalent to Highway to Hell and Hysteria for me.
And just hearing about Berserk from 1990, right? Yep.
Yes. And hearing that awesome intro, ancient Egypt music, and then followed up by 6 Sex. And I was like, what is this? And I absolutely had to have everything Tigertailz at that point. Unfortunately, I couldn't find Young and Crazy. It was an import at the time, and unless I found it used, which was a total score, I didn't get Young and Crazy for years. And obviously this was pre-streaming anything and pre-YouTube and all that. So I was really only able to find the Kim Hooker Tigertailz, which was fine because I loved the Kim Hooker Tigertailz. So, I went on to try to, order Bonsai and Wazbones and everything I could, their live album. So that's my introduction to Tigertailz. And I was able to find the VHS live Berserk from Cardiff. And it was off of eBay as a taped version, So I really had to do some digging back then to find this, but man, very impactful album for me. And I actually still rank it in my top 3 album covers in that I think Hysteria, Highway to Hell, and Berserk are my top 3
Yeah.
album covers of all time.
Yes.
And I very, very bold statement, but I like Berserk so much that I absolutely consider it my favorite glam metal album of all time.
Sure. Wow, and that is a bold statement. So remember I hear Star Attraction, and I think
Yeah.
this is around when eBay is getting going. I'm like, fuck, I need this album. That song kicks ass. And it was like outrageous amounts to because this was
Yeah.
before it got released at re-released at some point. But when you were looking
Yes.
for an original, it was like one of those fucking diamond in the rough like albums that was impossible to get. Now I do remember getting, I don't know if it was I think it might have been a re-recorded version that was put out, and I don't think got much publicity, but it was like I saw Tigertailz, I saw Young and Crazy, I fucking got it, and here I listen. I'm like, okay, here we go, Star Attraction. I can listen to it anytime I want, and
Yeah.
it was a different version, so I was
Yep.
fucking disappointed. And then finally, it got re-released, and so I picked up that copy. Then, fucking at my local music store one day. Uh, I'm walking around looking in the tea section, and here, Berserk and Bonsai had both
Oh,
been re-released, and the store
yes.
like, probably had one copy of each, but I bought them both. And so on this, Archives Volume One, you get the 1987 Young and Crazy album, you get the 1990 Berserk album, the one that you were kind of talking about, and then you
Yep.
get a third CD that has like some songs from that Bonsai release that came out after those two that had some covers. It has the third CD has some live shit and some other EP stuff. So let's open this bitch and we'll kind of get into more specifics about the albums and the songs. And I don't want to tear anything.
No.
Least of all, my ball sack. I don't know why I said that. I was joking I just put out an episode where I did an unboxing last night where I unboxed the Dawkins vinyl box set, but I was like amped up on caffeine, and I was talking about so 99% of the people who comment on my videos are fucking awesome, but there's always every now and then there's one, and one guy was like, you're 50 years old, shouldn't you tone down the sexual? And I'm like, no, I shouldn't. Like this is where it's okay to talk like it's fucking 1989. And in 1989, this is how I was talking. And with my best friends, this is how I still talk because you always revert back to the old days. And I don't want to grow old and be a fuddy-duddy. So yes, I'm going to swear. I'm going to talk about sex. I'm going to make penis jokes and all that shit. It's not going away. So if you don't like it, tough luck. Sorry. Okay.
This shit keeps you young, man.
Right? I mean, legitimately. And I always say, and I'm sure you're the same way, that when it's time to not talk that way. When it's time to be professional, and when it's okay to just cut loose and talk like you don't give a shit. And on YouTube, talking about 80s rock is the time to cut loose and act like you don't give a shit. Okay. So here's the cover. And that was kind of their mascot in a way.
Yep.
They use this guy a lot.
In terms of the little cartoon guy, and those in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Pepsi Tate, the former member, designed the little tiger.
So.
And he would do the artwork.
Yep.
And he did a lot of different artwork, and I always really liked it. Yeah, that. And so it's kind of like not always front and center, like on Berserk. It's like smaller, obviously, but it's really cool.
Yeah. So, and Pepsi Tate passed away. When was that again?
I don't know how many years ago, but it's been several years, I
One
believe.
of the founding members, did pass away. It has been years ago. So I'm just going to show you. So we saw the back of the box, we saw the front of the box,
Yeah.
and then that's how it is, and then the CDs. So had never looked in it. So here's what we got. We got a little booklet, which is kind of cool. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to read, but here you got some old pictures, looks like.
Yeah.
And then you got shit. This looks like just maybe a biography about the band.
Hmm.
So I'm just kind of showing you so you know what you're going to be getting. It looks like there's probably 10, 12 pages in this booklet. Kind of flip through that. So, you get some biography of the band, you get pictures. If you want to, fuck, what am I doing? If you want to
There you
pause
go.
that, look at those pictures. And looking at the pictures, they really bear kind of a strong resemblance to Poison at the beginning, right? And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad
No,
thing
not at
at
all.
all. So, and they came out, around the same time. Tigertailz got going, I think, around 85, put out their
Yeah.
first album in 87. So this biography was written by Dave Ling, it says, and you probably won't be able to, but so there's a biography, and then it looks like you get disc, then it goes through the songs on the discs, more pictures, and information about each of the albums, more pictures, and we get to the end. Looks like you get some magazine stuff. Maybe that looks like a Kerrang. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. So it's showing like where one of the singles placed. These were always at the end of Kerrang magazine. It'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
this week here's what the top UK, and then that on the end, and what is
Cool.
so so that's the booklet. So you get a cool booklet. And I think right now this thing is like 34 something on Amazon. So okay. Then we get into CD number one. Look at complete glam. And I fucking love
Oh, yeah.
it about
Yeah.
Tigertailz. You know?
Yeah. And dude, look at that. The artwork is so killer on the back, the four square pictures. I love the cover. And it's as if they're looking in their reflection, which I think I kind of studied it. I think they're two photos flipped, and they did their very best to look exactly like they did on the upright photo on the cover. But I just want to say, like, I'm not disregarding Young and Crazy at all. I
Yep.
just timing wise and ability to obtain Young and Crazy was, like I said, it was crazy expensive and import only. But the
Yep.
way I got this box set, which I received like a month ago, was I follow Stevie James on Facebook, and he said, "Hey, any of you want the box set? I'll personally autograph it and send it to you. Just, message me." So I messaged him thinking that I'd be like, 50th in line. And he goes, "Yeah, man. All right. Give me your information. I'll get you a copy." So I messaged back and forth with Stevie James, which I thought was very killer. I mean, the guy's the shit. He's a
Yep.
legend. He's
Yep.
the man. Killer voice, killer album. I love the album Young and Crazy.
Yep.
But I think Tigertailz kind of did him wrong. But it's awesome to have the box set with his autograph. So I'm really stoked to have it. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So we'll get in, but now that you brought up Stevie James, that was the only album he did with them. And then he
Yeah.
got booted. And our buddy Metal Mike from the 80s Glam Metalcast, did you see he changed it from the 80s Glam Metalcast to the Metalcast of his
Good for
YouTube
him.
channel? Did you see that?
See, I didn't actually notice that.
Oh, yeah,
I,
I noticed that.
so, well, is it on YouTube or is it on
On
Spotify and
you?
everything?
Well, I mean,
Oh,
no, so I watched the interview. Metal Mike,
oh,
the 80s Glam Metal Cast, interviewed Ace Fincham,
yeah,
the drummer, the original drummer of Tigertailz, and they went into the story about Stevie James and Ace Fincham in that interview said he did not he was like he and Stevie were best friends. He was not, he did not want that to happen. He wanted Stevie in the band. The other guys, for whatever reason, he didn't say specifically, but whatever, there was problems. So they booted him. They got Kim Hooker for the next album. But anyway, um, Stevie James, I know years later, put out an album called My Private Hell, that I have that CD, and a lot of people that I know in glam circles really like that album too. I don't know if you've ever listened to that, So,
oh,
uh,
absolutely. I have that one, and I have like some kind of collection, like a best of compilation thing. And his songs are amazing on that solo thing. And the My Private Hell album is touted quite highly. So yeah,
yes,
that's a great one.
yes. So, Young and Crazy, 1987, the full-on fucking glam look. You can see why. I mean, people were like, "Hey, it's like another band like Poison," which I was
Oh yeah,
all in for. Even shit, this. Remember, you had the Poison one with the four faces. It kind of looks like they're almost in a way recreating that. But
yep,
I'll just give you real quick what I love on this album. Star
yep,
Attraction is the opening track. That was the song that I heard. And it's not always that you hear a song once and get grabbed. A lot of times you got to buy an album. You're like, okay, yep. And by the third or fourth listen, you're like, oh, yeah, that's pretty good. Star Attraction for me was immediate. That is a great fucking riff that starts off that song. And one of the draws of this album is Stevie James vocals. I don't
yeah,
know. I don't know that I think Kim Hooker has a better voice. I like his voice. It's
yeah,
different. And we'll get into Berserk here in a second, but I might be more of a Stevie James style voice because he has that gruff grit to it. And if you
yeah.
watch this shit, I like that gruff and grit stuff. So, Hollywood Killer is great. Uh, you get the first version of the song "Living Without You," and they do a Kim Hooker version later. I might like the Kim Hooker version more. It's a little poppier, but Living Without You on Young and Crazy is very good. I prefer the later version. We'll get into that. And I also like Shoot to Kill a lot. And then the last song is called Fall in Love Again. It's a solid ballad. There are some songs on here that I'm like, I don't love, but those, what, five songs I really get into. So, where are you at with Young and Crazy?
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's raw, it's much more raw
Yep.
sounding. Not
Yep.
nearly as slick glam 1990 as Berserk, but it obviously sets them up. It's not quite as raw as like a Too Fast for Love, but you could
Right.
see that it's in the early days. She's Too Hot was always one that stood out for me big time. And I'll
Yep.
tell you, dude, I feel like the best song on the album might be Fall in Love Again. Like
Okay.
it's
Yes.
such a and you
Yes.
usually you're the pussy ballad guy. And here I am going, I mean, dude, it's tough to knock the rippers on this,
Yeah.
obviously. But like that song is so catchy and killer. It's like how you feel about the Lillian Axe song that should have been a single. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, this
I mean,
is
I did say
quite
that I
rough.
liked that song, but I
You
didn't like.
did. You
I
did.
didn't like gloat over it like
You
I
didn't gush like I
but
did.
very solid ballad. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm with you.
Good.
I don't have
Yeah.
quite the erection that you have right now, apparently, for it.
Oh yeah. It's there. You
Yeah.
just can't see it.
So, and I mean, these guys were from Wales, and I don't know where they recorded this at, but they probably weren't, a this what probably wasn't a big budget recording. So, hence the rawness. I mean, shit. Poison recorded Look What the Cat Dragged In for like 23 grand. And 23 grand in the grand scheme of recording an album is really nothing when you talk about other bands, getting, a $200,000 label budget, or when you're Def Leppard, like a $3 million label budget for some of the
Yeah.
shit you were doing. So yes, very raw, very catchy, and it's a great start. So now we get into the album that you were gushing over earlier,
Yeah.
Berserk from 1990. And if that cover doesn't fucking grab your attention, probably nothing will. So
No.
here's the back. And again, you
Killer.
get the four, and 1990, a lot of bands, fuck, why do I keep, a lot of bands were toning it down. But I
Yeah.
liked, there's a song on here that I compared to Pretty Boy Floyd. And
Mhm.
I really love the Leather Boys with Electric Toys album. And I've said, that album came out in 1989. People were starting to downplay the glam shit. Poison, you see, if you look on YouTube and at their concerts, it's not, the hair isn't out to here anymore. They're starting to wear jeans and shit. And Pretty Boy Floyd was like, fuck that. We're going in the opposite direction. And that's kind of how I feel about Berserk and Tigertailz. They were like, no, we're still fucking doing it up. So
Oh yeah.
I liked that. So you said this cover really grabbed you.
Immensely.
Right.
Big time. And I feel like they had a very specific recipe for everything they did. Like if you look at the back cover, obviously, like they have the fake warnings on the side and the cool artwork and the four squares and a repeat of the front cover overlaid. And then the LP, at least when you open it up, it's like all of them in a big, like, kind of classier setting with some fake pillars and shit.
Yep.
But yeah. And then in terms of like the songs, I feel like there's a recipe for that too. And it was like, Six Sex was like the Looks That Kill Ripper. Love Bomb Baby was like the, Fallen Angel, but not as light, the hugely bubblegum. And then like Noise Level Critical was like the Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution kind of slow chugger with the noise in there. And then the rest of them were just like catchy as shit. Like everybody wished they could have them on their album. And then they had a really good ballad in Heaven, like I think it's a great ballad. So
Yeah.
The recipe, they got super hard on like Call of the Wild and I Can Fight Dirty Too. Like just,
Yes.
I know the whole thing very well.
So okay, so now they get Kim Hooker, and are you a fuck, I'm all in on Kim Hooker, or where do you stand on the vocals? Do you think this album would have, should they have kept
Well,
Stevie James?
It would have sounded great with Stevie James. Kim Hooker has that like shaky, almost out of key voice that's just about to fall off the cliff at any minute, but he makes it work and it kind of rules. It sounds really good on record. Live, he does pretty good. I can't decide between like Bon and Brian, Sammy and Dave, Ted Poley and Paul Lane. But this, I don't want to shit on Stevie James at all, and I'm not doing that. And I love Young and Crazy. I love Stevie James, but I do think I favor Kim Hooker with Tigertailz.
Sure. And I think you said it exactly right. Like when he hits some of those high notes, he hits them, but you're always like, he's not gonna make it. He's not gonna make it. Oh fuck, he made it.
Yeah.
So okay, this comes out 3 years later and is their most successful album. It went to number 36 on the UK Top 40. It didn't chart in America. They never really got much of a chance in America. And I'll say I wore my new Michael Monroe Dead Jailer Rock and Roll shirt because talk about another band, Michael Monroe and Hanoi Rocks, that were always looked upon fondly overseas and just never got that chance in America. This is the album that should have
Yeah.
broke Tigertailz in America. But change of vocalist, and I do like Kim Hooker a lot. I think, I like the grit of Stevie James on Young and Crazy, but I really like this album too. So Six Sex is phenomenal. I wonder what that's about. I don't know, Six Sex. Maybe it's
Never
about
heard
like
of
trying to have sex when you're not feeling that good.
it. Yeah.
Just fucking with you. So really like Six Sex. Love Bomb Baby. We just did an episode now. I think it was was it Brian was on it? I think Mariah, I can't remember who. The catchiest songs in hair metal history. And I put Love Bomb Baby at number 9.
Oh,
I
yeah.
from the immediate you're and one of the great lines in fucking rock and roll. You're not a lady, you're a love bomb baby. You know how many times I've said that to like girlfriends or something? You're not a lady, you're a love bomb baby. Oh fuck, I just love that line. And just sticky, sweet, catchy. I really like I Can Fight Dirty too. I really like Noise Level Critical. Heaven is a really fucking good ballad. I don't think did that get released as a single? I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Because I know Love Bomb Baby did. What else? Shit, Noise Level Critical, I think did. I thought there
I think
was.
so.
I don't. So I don't know if Heaven was a single, but obviously, even if it was, it didn't do that great. I really like Action City. And
Yeah.
Twist and Shake really reminds me of the poppy side of Pretty Boy Floyd. Um, but here's my question. I know that they re-recorded Living Without You from Young and
Yeah.
Crazy when they got Kim Hooker in the band. Why didn't they put it on this? It didn't.
I don't know.
Did
Yeah,
they
they
do
did
it?
it.
Did they do it after Berserk? I thought it was before they recorded Berserk. Maybe you don't know. I'm not sure.
No, I think it's before.
Okay.
I think that was like their first tester with Kim
I think
Hooker.
so.
Like, throw that out there.
I think so.
But I'm on board with you with liking the Kim Hooker version more, and I'll
Yes.
tell you why. It's so subtle, but if you remember in the chorus, there's like almost like a little kid voice. It sounds like female high voice, and they're like, they're repeating the word like alone,
Yes.
living without you, and then it's like it's just a subtle little thing, and you're like, whoa, that sounds so much bigger and thicker. And I think it's the production. I think it's the addition of those background vocals on the chorus.
Yes.
And I remember
The
like kind of
backing
having
vocals. The backing vocals almost fucking make that song when they get in the chorus. Oh,
it's really accurate. And I remember having an argument with one of my buddies over this years ago who loved Stevie James and all that. And I was like, dude, I like this version better. And I told him why. And he was like, for that little part, like you're crazy. But I still firmly believe that little part makes the song better for me.
it feels, and we haven't gotten to the third CD. That version is on the third CD of Living Without You. So
mostly bonsai shit stuff.
yes. So we'll get into that. But I just, this is a great CD. I feel like, here's what I feel like are my 3 all-time favorite Tigertailz songs. Star Attraction from Young and Crazy, Love Bomb Baby, and if you never listen to that, guaranteed it will grab you right away, and then Living Without You. And I really like the Young and Crazy version. But the version they did with Kim Hooker, it's like they cleaned up some of the shit. They made the chorus even more outrageously catchy. The chorus of Living Without You is one of the catchiest moments in hair metal history, I feel like. Fuck, you will not get that out of your head. So anyway, I felt like they should have put it on this album. Maybe they were like, it was just on our last album. We can't put it on our second album too. You know. But so anyway, Love Bomb Baby got some airplay. I think I have a fucking ad for this. I should have brought, but framed for Love Bomb Baby because they were in Kerrang, which is a UK magazine. They were in Kerrang quite a bit. But outside of that, that was a big hit. And so the album does okay in America, probably doesn't do shit, or does okay in the UK, excuse me, probably doesn't do shit in America. So after that, you know, they start, I think times are changing. They and I don't so they released an album called Bonsai, which has cover songs. It's I don't know what, and so some songs of Bonsai are on this. What did you think about Bonsai?
Uh, I liked it a lot because
Yeah.
it had those random songs that
Yes.
they had on with Kim, and it was like, shit, these are as good as songs off of Berserk, you know.
Yep.
Some of those covers you wouldn't expect.
Yep.
You're like, fuck, they're covering some hard ass bands, but it worked really, really well. And I believe "Taking the Pain" was on Bonsai,
Yep.
and they're kind of featuring it now. Like if you look at Spotify, like
Yes.
the main feature is "Taking the Pain," and it's the radio edit off the new, trying to kind of put it out. But
Yep.
that song was like the epitome of what we're talking about in terms of Kim Hooker's voice, where you're like, damn, he is so close to being out of key, but it's working somehow for some reason.
Yep.
And that song has a very catchy intro and a very catchy chorus too.
Yep. So on the third CD, and this is like different versions, some songs. There's like how many songs? There's like 4 or 5 songs from Bonsai on this third CD, and there are some different versions of songs that were on Berserk and Young and Crazy, and there's some live tracks. So there's 16 songs on the third CD. And I didn't open this before we did because I wanted to open it here, but I've been on YouTube and Spotify listening to these songs. So you get the kick-ass version of Living Without You. You get Nine Lives is a song I really like off Bonsai. You get I love they do covers of Creeping Death by Metallica and Peace Sells But Who's Buying by Megadeth. And you're like,
Yep.
a fucking hair metal band? That's
But they-
known for being really poppy, doing these thrash covers. I shit you not. Those are 2 of my favorite songs from Tigertailz.
Oh, yeah.
It's kick ass. So, and then another song so I'm not going to talk about you can talk about the songs that maybe you like from that third CD, but the song Taking the Pain also
Great
was
song.
on Bonsai, and you get a radio edit version. You get 2 versions of that on this CD. I really like that song. So the third CD has songs from their third album Bonsai, has some live tracks, has some different versions of songs from the other 2 albums, 16 total tracks. So you can add whatever you want about this third CD.
I was looking at the track listing as well here. She's Too Hot is killer. For a Few Dollars More is really killer. A song that they left off, at least this, and I think it was on Bonsai, was a song called Murderous. And I don't know if you know that song, but that's another like
that is really
huge chorus. And
yes,
I think I got to know that song when I got the Berserk Live 1990 VHS. I think they played the song Murderous live, and I was like, what is this? I can't find it anywhere, and it was like, damn, this is a great unreleased one. So another one on Bonsai that probably may come out on volume 2. Who knows?
Right. So I mean, they must be doing a volume 1 if they're calling this, or they must be doing a volume 2 if they're calling this volume 1. And they're saying volume 1, 84 to 91. So,
well, I know they love Wazbones, or they wish they could have a do-over on that one, because Wazbones was a 1992 release, and that 1992, and I have a very special relationship. That's my year for metal. But Wazbones was different. Wazbones was a bit much even for me in my Tigertailz love. I think there was
Didn't Wazbones actually come out in 95? Wasn't it supposed
yeah.
to
So
come out earlier, but it came out like it was delayed and all sorts of shit went wrong with the release of that album.
yes, and the original 92 version that they wanted to come out, I believe, has come out.
Yes.
And it's
okay, yes.
slightly
Right.
different. It's slightly different than the one that was released in the mid 90s, which they really like industrialized, pumped up. It was like way different.
Yes.
But even for like such a dedicated Tigertailz fan, I was like, I don't know, like 92 could have been so fucking killer for you, but you did Wazbones, and I'm still getting used to it. So who knows? Maybe that'll start the 92 and on volume 2 or something.
Right. So yes, I remember hearing, and you probably know more because I'm not an expert on Tigertailz. But yeah, that Wazbones was supposed to come out. It gets delayed. Didn't they have to like re-record it, and that's why it ended up like dramatically different? And then,
Yeah.
and this is listening to this interview with Ace Fincham, who's actually a friend of mine on Facebook, and I might talk to him about maybe he wants to come on and clear up some of the shit for us about what exactly happened with him and Tigertailz, because he got released from the band after Berserk, I'm pretty sure, and they brought in a new drummer, but then there was problems with the band name. And then they actually had to go out and tour with being called Wazbones instead of Tigertailz.
Oh.
Do you remember? And this is, like I said, just getting this from some recent information from interviews, but there was all sorts of legal problems and all sorts of shit.
Damn. Yeah, I it's kind of fuzzy with my history on that part of it, but yeah, I'm not really sure.
And if I'm fucking this up, let me know in the comments. I'm just trying to remember shit that I've heard in interviews. But anyway,
Yeah.
a lot of turmoil and I mean, how many bands do you think got this close and just never got over the hump to getting, the fame and the stardom that you thought they were going to get? And I feel like Tigertailz is one of them. Love Bomb Baby should have been a song that was like their fucking Poison, Nothing But a Good Time. I mean, it's the catchiest fucking thing ever. But for whatever reason, whether it's record label politics, whether they didn't get enough money put into it, whether who knows what happened on the American scene, but it just didn't happen. So they're kind of like this underground cult favorite is what I feel about Tigertailz. So we were talking about Wazbones. They ended up, and maybe you can. They went away for a long time. They came back years later and then there's been different versions and different singers and all sorts of different shit. But they were kicking around in different factions, at one point or another. So if there's anything that you can clear up about what happened with Tigertailz in years later, and maybe you don't have anything, but feel free to throw out what you know.
I do know that they have a really solid album in Berserk 2.0, and it's rare for me to preach an album from that era, that genre. But earlier you mentioned how they really did it up on this and that, and the first single is called "Do It Up" from that release, and it is a really, really good song. And you're like, they didn't miss a beat. It's kind of like Giant 3. You're like, fuck. Giant 3 rules. They picked up where they left off in 92. This is rad. And it's the same thing on Berserk 2.0. Now, again, they followed a very similar recipe to Berserk, as they should have, but it's great.
So we talked about Berserk 2.0. So now I'm looking at their page. The album that I think I bought that had Star Attraction on that I didn't really like it's called Original Sin.
Oh yeah.
2003. They put out an album called Thrill Pistol in 2007. Lost Reels in 2015, and then Blast from 2016. And I remember seeing a couple of videos from that Blast album. There was one that was called like Pipped It and Popped It or something like that. And it was actually pretty catchy shit. Really,
Yeah.
really reminiscent of 70s glam. So anyway, they put out a couple live albums. So Tigertailz, a band that we feel like should have done, should have had more fame and success back in the day, especially on 1990's Berserk album. But in this box set, CD box set, you get a book. It's about a 15, 16 page book with pictures, band biography, album information. You get 1987's Young and Crazy. You get 1990's Berserk. And you get the third CD, which I'll probably put it upside down, has 16 tracks with some live, some rare tracks, and some tracks from their third album, Bonsai, that are really good. You get the kick-ass version of Living Without You on there. So, awesome CD. With that, Ryan, thank you for being on to talk about Tigertailz, brother.
Hey, man. Of course. They're one of my favorites, obviously. So thank you very much for having me.
So, you recommend this? Little
Sure,
box
dude.
set? Hey, it's
Absolutely.
like $34.90, 34 something on Amazon. I think if you have never been into Tigertailz and you're looking for some of those more obscure bands, the bands that we love to talk about, I would recommend that you go pick up this box set on Amazon. It's on eBay as well. So get some Tigertailz into your life. Hey, like, subscribe, what the hell, ring the bell. And until the next video comes out, my name is Anthony. They call me the Guru. Take care of yourselves.